Hello, I'm officially back to uploading. If this is your first time watching my videos, welcome. Phainon is the man you want coming to Star Rail. The charm of this man, the posture. He's going to be a destruction character and will release alongside the Fate collab event. To be honest, I care more about the Fate collab, so I'll be going over his relics, light cones, teams, variations, vacations plan. Welcome to the Phainon guide. Subscribe since it helps me out a lot, and let's get right into the guide. With Phainon and the Fate collab right around the corner, we have just the solution for you if your Jades are looking a little grim. Luckily for her and you, I have just the solution. LD Shop, the sponsor of today's video. They're currently offering up to 19% off of all Star Rail products, so it is your best chance to not miss out. Want to get a discounted version of Jade purchases and save money? Here's the price comparison of LD Shop and the actual Star Rail shop. As you can see here, if I was to buy this, I would be saving $21 whole just by using LD Shop. All you have to do is go to the Star Rail page of LD Shop, click on the package you want to get. For example, I will be buying the Express Pass. And simply what you have to do is you have to enter your server. So I'm going to choose Europe, and you're going to enter your game UID. Once you have entered your game UID, you're going to want to click top up. A little nice window is going to appear right here. And with my special 5% off coupon that you get from clicking down below in the description, alongside the coupon that went recently from 10% to 15% for newcomers, you're going to click pay now. And as you can see, as I'm on Star Rail, I'm just walking around, and there you go. If you spend over 80 bucks in a single month on LD Shop, you will gain the VIP status, which rewards you with a free Express Pass. And LD Shop, as I said before, has a new 15% off coupon for all newcomers to LD Shop, alongside my 5% off special coupon, and many more that you can use on your purchases. Thanks again to LD Shop for sponsoring this video. Starting strong with the traces, we actually have pretty simple ones compared to the big ass kit I'm about to explain. The first one gives him a core flame stack for his ultimate whenever he enters or leaves the transformation, which is simple enough. And for the other two, he gains a damage bonus for 4 whole turns when he is healed or shielded, and when he enters the battle or he leaves the transformation, he will gain a bunch of attack, which can be stacked twice. Already, we do see a problem in the attack percent self buff, meaning, for example, the attack percent on your substats should be as little as possible. Obviously you should get attack percent, but you shouldn't gain that much. And obviously for the ball, I would recommend physical over attack percent just because of this, and you will see we have a bigger problem with attack later down the line. Anyways, now for his kit. Okay, I will be splitting the kit section into 2 parts with Phainon and Kaslana. We're going to be starting with the skill of Phainon, which deals AoE damage, and you can obtain 2 core flame stacks for his ultimate. As for his talent, in his base form, he gains a core flame stack when he is targeted by allies or enemies alike, and his crit damage increases for 3 whole turns when he is targeted by any allied ability. Basically, if an enemy targets him with their attack, he will be gaining a stack for the ultimate, and if Ting Yun, for example, targets him with her skill, he will gain an ult stack and additionally gain some crit damage in the process. Lastly, while you have Phainon in your team, your technique points will go up by 3, and when he uses the technique, he will consume 2 of them to attack, instantly killing the smaller enemies like Acheron's technique, and when he enters battle on a higher level enemy or a higher class enemy, he will gain 25 energy in that battle, 2 bruise stacks, and 1 skill point. As for the bruise stacks, he can use them later in his ult form, and yes, he can retain them right now in his Phainon form before he turns into his ult form. What are bruise stacks? You'll see later. Now going to his ultimate, he will transform into Kaslana and will deploy a territory which is similar to Castoris, with all allies disappearing from the field. Enemies in this territory will gain the physical weakness, and Phainon will gain 8 extra special turns, with each turn at 60% of his speed. He can use 3 types of abilities in the Kaslana form, which we'll talk about in a second. After he's done with the ultimate, either if the turns run out or he dies, he will trigger the final hit that deals a lot of AoE damage, but this damage will be decreased if he actually dies instead of using all of these special turns that I mentioned before. Also, when he exits the transformation, he will actually increase the speed of your teammates for 1 single turn, just so you can get up to pace on whatever happened while you were in the transformation. Now for his attacks in the Kaslana form, his basic attack will be dealing AoE damage, and he will gain 2 bruise stacks for his special ability. For the skill, he will gain bruise stacks equal to the enemies on field, and he will also gain a new stack called Soul Scorch. Additionally, he will have his damage taken reduced by 75% and will make all enemies act instantly. If they do attack him during the Soul Scorch state, he will counterattack, dealing AoE damage plus 4 instances of extra damage. If no enemy hits him after activating the skill, on the next turn he will launch the counter automatically. Now for his special ability, it can be used if you have more than 1 bruise stack to cleanse himself and deal damage, but at 4 stacks, he will trigger an AoE damage dealing ability that will deal even more damage if you have done it, for example, at 3 stacks or 2 stacks. So ideally you want to get 4 stacks before you press that ability. Again, very kind of basic mechanics for a character, but the animation they gave him is out of this world, actually. Also, while he is in this form, he will gain another talent. He obtains 4 bruise stacks when he transforms, and if you trigger the transformation during an ally's turn and not Phainon's, all of the buffs will extend by 1 turn and their turn will end at that time. During this form we've been talking about, he will gain a bunch of attack similar to what Herta gains when she ults, and his max HP will triple. Yes, not double, triple. On top of all of this, he will be completely immune to crowd control. He will be obtaining 1 free enhanced basic and 2 enhanced skills. And for the final 2 things, when he attacks, he restores HP, which is pretty simple. And if he dies, he will instead restore 25% of the max HP and will launch the final hit. The more special turns that you leave in the action bar, the damage multiplier will reduce by 12.5%, meaning, for example, if you have 4 turns available and he dies, the damage of the final hit will be reduced by 5%, 12.5 times 4. And that is the longest kit explanation I've ever had to do. For his ability priority, you ideally want to level all of them up, but you do need some organization so you can have the best kind of Phainon possible. So let me give you the ability prio. So the first one you should go with is the ultimate, then the calamity skill, followed by the foundation skill. I think these skills will be either combined in the ultimate or they will be combined in something else. So I don't think you need that many resources for this kind of thing. But if the transformation skills are put into the ultimate and they scale because of the ultimate level up, then the ultimate becomes the ultimate priority. Haha, if they scale with the skill, then again I would make sure to get the ultimate first and then I would get the skills after. So basically go for the ultimate first, then you should follow up with the enhanced skills wherever they might be in the level up tree. And after that you need to move on to the talents. I don't know if he will have 2 separate talents or if he has 1 big one that combines both again, but if they do have 2 separate ones, I want you to go with the Fate talent if you want the crit damage, or you go with the Puric talent if you want attack percent. And lastly, you need to go for the basic attack. And yes, the basic attack actually is kind of useful finally. And of course, level him up fully. Every part of his traces counts. Moving to the relic section, we have quite the options that will change your life. Come over to the bazaar with me and take a look for yourself. Pretty cool stuff you will find, but let me show you something more interesting. Okay, here you can pick like champion if you like it, but it works. It doesn't give too much attack. Here, Wave Strider is also, I think, too much attack. It also works, but I think you're putting too much attack into him. Oh, you'll like this one for sure. In my opinion, his best in slot is the Scholar set. He mostly deals skill and ult damage, so the Scholar set is perfect for him. And just in general, you are buffing the ultimate and you are buffing the skill damage, which are the primary methods he uses to attack enemies and deal a lot of damage. As for the planners, again, very simple stuff. You go with Sal Soto. You can go with Sal Soto because it gives you follow-up attack and ult damage, and for another option, you can go with Rudolent Arena for the skill and basic attack bonus with some crit rate on top as well. If you want to be quirky like everyone else, we also have a set called Arcadia of the Woven Dreams, which is the new one, and when there are more or less than 4 ally targets in battle, each additional / missing ally will increase the wearer's and the memo sprite's damage by 9 to 12%, up to a maximum of 4 / 3 stacks. so 4 additional members or 3 missing members. What does all of this mean? If you have only Phainon on field, he will get 36% damage bonus, and if you have all 4 allies with him, you will gain nothing. But if you have more than 4, every additional teammate will give you 9% bonus. This also can work, but I wouldn't recommend it, in my opinion, over Sal Soto or Rutalind Arena. This is between you and me, okay? We are pulling his light cone. Thus, Burns the Dawn gives you a base speed increase of 12, similar to Aglaya's light cone, which makes speed effects way better. And alongside this incredible buff, might I say, he gives 18% defense ignore, and after he ults, he obtains the Blazing Sun effect, which is removed at the start of the turn. While Phainon possesses Blazing Sun, this will increase the damage dealt by him by 60%. Honestly, this is a pretty solid light cone with actually no real 4-star contenders or maybe even 5-star light cones. I'll mention the best light cones that conflict with his enormous attack buffs, so before you hear my suggestions, most light cones will work and the attack percent they give is also fine. I'm just recommending you the absolute best options. Ninja Record and Fall of an Eon are both free to play and give you very decent buffs, with Under the Blue Sky being very good as well. But here's a secret. They are releasing another Destruction light cone that is by far his second best in slot. I'm guessing this will be probably a Herda Shop light cone or maybe an event light cone, and it is named Trial of Bygone Blood. It gives you a 12% crit rate increase, and the skill damage and ultimate damage you will deal increases by 40%. This is by far the best option you have if you aren't going for the signature, and honestly, I'd say you shouldn't really need the light cone as long as you have this one. Obviously, if you like Phainon, go get it, but I don't think it's that necessary. I think you can spend your money more on a support or maybe another character. Now, since Phainon is a man of the people, he loves being targeted by others, friends or foes alike, so you want supports that either target him in order to buff him, or someone like Tribi that counteracts all of this self-buffing. I will go over some characters quickly and show you a few team comps to use him in to make sure you get the best value from Phainon and whatever unit you use with him. Units like Ron May, Robin, and Tribi are all very good, but they only target him once every 3 turns with the skill. But thankfully, Tribi can actually provide more, so she can kind of pass this problem that Ruan Mei and Robin have. And to be fair, Ruan Mei and Robin can only do so much. This problem is also prevalent in the RMC, but his buffs are very good, so he kind of gets a pass as well, like Tribi. Some actually great units that will always benefit him the most are going to be advanced forward units and targeting buffing units. These units are primarily Bronya, Tingyun, Sunday, Sparkle, and these are kind of the buffers you want because they of course advance Phainon so he can attack and gain his core flames, and they are overall great at what they're supposed to do. For supports, I'd actually recommend Lynx as your best option, since when you heal Phainon with Lynx using the skill ability, he will be able to taunt the enemies way more, so they will actually hit him a lot more times, meaning you will get to use the ult faster. Gallagher is fine, but he doesn't help as much, and actually Ho-Ho is going to be another good option as your support for him, not only because she buffs, cleanses, and targets him with all of her abilities, but she will also regen energy for him, which is another extra stack for his ultimate. I want to give an honorable mention to Zhao Cho. He actually buffs the ult damage and can actually deal pretty okay damage on his own, but again, he might be taking away from the hypercarry buffers that Phainon needs. So if you have Zhao Cho, I would use him, but don't use him if he's not very good or if you have the other units that I mentioned before. For example, Zhao Cho will never replace any Sparkle, Tingyun, Sunday, or Bronya in a Phainon team. Now for the team comps, I'm going to show you 4 examples, but you can cook up so much more on your own. Trust me, you will just see it from these 4 archetypes that I've made. You will always find the team that suits you and your Phainon the best, depending on what characters you have to use. I'm just giving you some examples so you have an idea of where to go. I'll leave this on for a couple seconds and then we'll move on to the Eidolons. Now, for the Eidolons, I will actually just pass them very quickly since my guide mostly depends on his E0 and not very much on E1, E2, or E4 for that matter. E6 usually tends to be a completely different character, so I don't even touch on this kind of subject. Anyways, let's get to his E1. For his E1, the speed scales higher per enemy defeated during the ult form, and he gets a 50% crit damage on his ultimate. And again, what I mean by the speed scales higher per enemy, the 60% base speed will actually go up by 1.5% each time you kill an enemy during the transformation, and this will cap at 84%, and it will scale like that. So this will actually make him a lot more valuable in pure fiction. This will fix a lot of his problems in that kind of category. So E1 can be a little better if you're going to do pure fiction. For his E2, he gains a 20% physical res pen, and you will be gaining an extra turn after you use 4 brew stacks when you use the special ability. E4 gives you 4 stacks of soul scorch when you use the skill instead of 1, so now you will have an extra 100% damage bonus on the counter attack instead of just 20%. If you paid attention during when I was talking about the counter attack, you will see that there is a multiplier that increases with every stack, and if you do not have E4, this will always be just a 20% increase. If you have E4, this will go up to 100%. And finally, for the E6, your core flames do not have a cap on how many you can hold, and on top of that, you will gain 6 core flame stacks when you start the battle. The cherry on top of all of these buffs is the special ability will now deal 36% bonus true damage to the highest enemy on field, and honestly, these kinds of E6s are what I would expect, something that's very, very broken that will not be surpassed by another E0 unit. I see what they're doing, and in my opinion, this is what it should be. The characters should be very good at E0 and should be even more great at E6. Honestly speaking, I wouldn't recommend any Eidolon. As I said before, Phainon is amazing as he is at E0, and you shouldn't need to be forced to get his Eidolons. If you truly want to pick any one of them, if you truly want to pick an Eidolon, I would recommend E1, which should be more than enough, but you need to make sure you pick up his light cone as well. Honestly, I can't wait for the animations to be in the actual game because I'm always having my mind on what they can do later down the year. We've seen this with Acheron, we've seen this with Rappa, we've seen this with so many units, and Phainon has topped every single thing I have seen so far. Subscribe if you like this guide and you want to see more, and for the people that have followed me in the past, I'm very sorry for leaving for 3 months. Stuff was happening and finals were very just looming over me, but thankfully I should be back on schedule and will start uploading more frequently as the summer continues. I hope you have a great day, afternoon, or night, and thank you for watching.